And welcome to Becoming the Macaires. Jinx. What you can talk about. This is the first in a series of videos that we're going to post before the wedding. So you can get to know a little bit about us.
And the family.
And our family.
And get excited about the wedding.
Our picture perfect wedding day. So this first video is the story of Timeica and Marcus.
Yes.
Now some of y'all know bits and pieces of the story, but I don't think we've ever told the story all the way through together before.
Right.
So that's what this is, give you a little background into how we got here.
Great. So you can start.
Okay. So the story starts at Learn Charter School, Romano Butler campus in Chicago. I was teaching there. I started in 2011, and in 2012 is when Marcus first came.
Correct. I began teaching there in August of 2012. Korean, which is one of my good friends who was a bridesmaid, invited me to come teach an elective class there after doing a couple of projects beforehand, and that allowed me to be in the building to teach the scholars in middle school at the time. And then I transferred to second grade January of 2013, which is where I was teaching next door to Timeica in room 205, and she was in room 206.
Yep, I was also teaching first and second grade. So we developed a friendship, and we would like share lesson plans and go on field trips together and all that kind of stuff. But at that point we were just like meeting each other, barely really knew each other.
Right.
So fast forward to the next school year, I was teaching fourth grade, and I had a new student named Timeica. And he quickly became one of my sons. And I was just like telling everybody like, oh, this is my son, love him, he's awesome, he looks like me a little bit, etc. And one day Timeica came to me and he said, Mr. Manning said he's my dad. And I was like, because everybody knows I'm a little bit possessive. So I was like, no, I am your mom, you are my son, you are no one else's son. But then one day Manning came to my class to teach computers, and I said, so Timeica said you're his dad? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, he's my son, so I guess that makes you my work husband. And he was like, okay, cool.
And so Timeica, though we have a lot of other children, Timeica is the child that brought us together for the work-wife, work-husband piece.
Yeah, he is the first child that we had together.
Correct.
And so from that point on, we just grew a friendship. It was just very organic. Like, he would come to my classroom all the time. I would send the kids to make sure he ate lunch and like actually took breaks. And he would come to my birthday dinners and like family barbecues and that kind of stuff. And he was just around from that point on. But at that point, it was still a platonic friendship. And that kind of confused people a little bit because we had a lot of coworkers and friends who were like, so are y'all a thing? And I was like, no, that's my work husband. A lot of my friends and family actually did not know his real first name for years because I always called him work husband. So when they finally found out it was Marcus, they were like, oh, okay, great. But
they definitely called me work husband. Hey, work husband, how's it going? Work husband? Yeah. So I answered.
That happened a lot for many years. And then in 2015, at the end of the school year, I left Learn, and I moved over to work at Teach for America.
During that time, I was still at Learn. We were still cool. And during the time she was at Learn, I did like her. I did peep her out a lot. But
I didn't know that.
Right, I didn't let her know. But, I was at work, and I don't like to mix work and pleasure at the same time. No. So anyway, so I never really said anything, but I still remained friends with her, still, hung out and,
was around a lot.
Was around, because I did like being around, but I didn't want to overstep or make a situation that would be difficult to be in, considering that we work together.
Right. So then I left, but I was still around a lot. I was always at the school. I was visiting like once a week maybe. I was there a lot. And then we can fast forward to 2017 when in April, right before his birthday party, literally the day of his birthday party, I decided to take a new job in Connecticut. I felt like I needed a change of pace. A lot of things had happened in my life in those 2 years after I left Learn, and I just needed a reset. and Yale is a place that I know and love, and so I was like, if I'm gonna go work anyplace else, I might as well go back to New Haven and like start my life over again there. So I literally sent the email the morning of his birthday party in 2017 saying, yes, I accept the job. And then my sister and I went to his party, and I told him and her together. So he was one of the first 2 people that found out that I was moving. And I was at his party, so I was having fun. And so Marcus did not believe me when I said that I was moving to Connecticut. He wanted to blame it on the juice, y'all. But I was like, it's still gonna be the truth tomorrow. Like, I am moving.
Did not believe it, not one bit. And during the summertime, that summer, you know, she was hanging out, going places, doing things, and I was just going along, you know. Yeah, let's do it, you know, getting her friends together and things like that.
Yeah.
And I went and had a good time with them. And then she said, oh, I'm having a going away party. And I was like, her?
Right. In August. Like July, August.
Oh, you for real leaving?
Right. He thought I was playing.
I
so
may have been a little like, I don't want to say salty.
Oh.
I don't want to say
you
salty.
You can say salty. I'll take
but,
that.
You know, I was a little like, oh wait, she leaving for real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but.
Yeah, so he came to my going away party. My parents were there. My family was there. He sat right next to me the whole time, and people were like, what's going on? I was like, that's just my work husband. He's going to miss me a lot, you know? Didn't really think anything of it, because in my head I told myself that he had until I left for Connecticut to say something if he was going to say something. And that was how I rationalized it. I was like, if he doesn't say anything before I move 800 miles away, it means he's not interested, and that's okay, and he'll still be my work husband, and he'll still be awesome. And so by the end of the summer, he didn't say anything, and I was like, well, that's that. I stopped at Learn the day I left Chicago. Wait, no, back up, because you were supposed to drive with me.
Yes, I was supposed to drive with you, and then you called and said that your apartment wasn't going to be ready.
Yep.
At the time it was supposed to be ready, so you had to push it back.
Yep.
And so I wasn't able to go because school had started, and so she had her cousin Deetra to drive with her instead. Yep.
But we stopped at Learn before we left Chicago, so I got to say goodbye to him and Erica, my matron of honor, and a few other people at the school before I officially left the city. But once I drove out of Chicago, I was like, okay, well, done with that. Guess he wasn't interested. Let's move on.
Meanwhile, I'm like, dang, she leaving for real.
It's still process.
Still process.
And I'm on the road, y'all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was gone.
But
it was a little weird because he was commenting on my social media stuff more when I left than when I was at home. Like, he was replying to snaps that I would post and saying, oh, you look beautiful today. Oh, I love those glasses. I was like, what? Who's beautiful? What is he talking about? So I was like, does he like me now that I'm gone? Or maybe he just misses me a lot. So that's just what I told myself. Like, oh, he's my work husband. He misses me. It makes sense.
Yeah. So then she left, and I hit her up at the end of September because I knew her birthday was October 19th. So I hit her up at the end of September, asked her was she coming home for her birthday. She wasn't coming home for her birthday, but she was coming home for Erica's bridal shower,
bachelorette party
stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
So she was like, "No, I'm not gonna be home then, but coming home for the bachelorette party things." And so I said, "Okay, cool. Well, let's meet up while you're here." And so, you know, I'm thinking to myself, I need to tell her what it is. I need to tell her what it is. She. You know, yeah. So she came back. We tried to link up. Didn't quite work out like that.
Because Marcus is always super busy. And the night before I left, he decided to go to Fright Fest at Six Flags.
You were invited.
I don't remember being invited.
Yeah,
anyway, he came back super late. I had like a 6 a.m. flight, and he hit my phone at like 11 o'clock that night. And I looked at it and I was like, no, I have to go to sleep. I got a flight. I'll call him tomorrow.
She dissed me, y'all.
I didn't really think anything of it though. In my defense, I was like, he don't see me for Thanksgiving. Like, I gotta go to sleep. I gotta go to the airport. So left it at that and went back to Connecticut.
She went back, and then I was like, all right, that's cool. She'll be back again. And so I called again and asked her, are you coming home for Thanksgiving? And she was like, yeah, I'm coming home for Thanksgiving. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let's try to meet up there.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I got to talk to her.
And I was like, okay, sure. So he came to Thanksgiving because before I even invited him to Thanksgiving dinner, my cousin Devin had already invited him on Facebook. Devin has been obsessed with cousin Marcus since forever. So
before I was cousin Marcus.
Yes, but you were her cousin Marcus.
Clearly.
So she had already invited him to dinner, so I knew he was coming. I was like, okay, cool. So he came to Thanksgiving at my cousin's house. And then I walked him to his car when he was leaving, and he said, oh, do you want to go get something to eat before you leave? I was like, food? Yes, obviously. So he was like, okay, cool. When do you want to go? I said, let's go Saturday. We kind of scheduled that, and I was like, oh, my work husband, he wants to eat. Great. Maybe some kids will come. I don't really know. And we went out to eat. We went to one of my favorite restaurants, Chatung, and it was great. And then the next day, he hit me back up, and he was like, okay, so when you're leaving, because I wanted to talk to you before you leave. Right. And I was like, okay, but do we have to talk in person? Like, can we talk on the phone? He was like, no, it should be in person. And I was like,
I need it to be in person. And so on Sunday, I believe it was a Sunday,
yeah.
I was out in South Holland, doing some recording, and she was like, well, I can meet you out there. I'm like, yeah, let's meet out there and we can talk after I'm done doing this recording thing. Shout out to Blue. And so and so then she came out there after the recording was over. I was going to my mom's house afterwards, which is normally a 15-minute drive, but I took the scenic route just so that I can have more time to talk. And during that 30 minutes or so drive, I told her everything that I was wanting to do, or
and thinking, and all the things. It was a very interesting conversation. It was really interesting because, some of y'all know, I watch a lot of TV and a lot of movies. And it was during that car ride, it was literally like things started going in slow motion. Like there was a point where I was thinking to myself, like, my life will never be the same after this conversation. And it's crazy to say that because I never believed that kind of stuff in movies when it's like, oh, we go slow and they look at each other and it's a thing. And I was like, that's not real life. But in that car ride, I was like, this is the moment where my life is completely shifting. Like I know nothing will be the same after this conversation. And it was really awesome. It was a really good feeling, a very comforting feeling to know that I wasn't crazy, first of all, that he did like me. Because when I tell you Marcus dropped no hints, there were no hints over the years that he was my work husband. I felt crazy. I was like, okay, maybe I don't like this dude. Maybe I think I do, but I don't because he don't like me. And I'm not doing this. But in that conversation, he made it super clear to me. And I was like, this makes sense. And then he explained why he didn't tell me before I left for Connecticut. So he had planned to tell me over the summer, but he kept pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back, and eventually talked himself out of it because he didn't want to tell me and I not move to Connecticut for us to try to be something and then us not work out and me regret not moving and taking the job, which I thought was like the most thoughtful thing I'd ever heard in my life. But then at the end of the conversation, he said he wanted me to have processing time, but whenever I was ready, he was ready to start building. And for me, building was a big word. I was like, oh, you're a grown up. Like, you want to build things. So that was really awesome. And I appreciated being able to think about it, mostly because our kids are super important to me and to us. And I had to think about how us becoming an actual couple would impact them. Like, I did not want us to make family dynamics awkward if we didn't work out. So I talked to Micah, our oldest, and I talked to a couple of my daughters, I think. And they were like, well, finally, like, duh, we knew this already. And I was like, what? How did y'all know? But once we kind of had their permission, I was like, okay, cool, we can move forward.
True.
And then, do you want to talk about New York?
Yeah. But I will say that I remember during the car ride, I asked you, what are you thinking? And you looked at me and you like, I'm like mad, but I'm happy at the same time, but I'm mad. Like, why'd you wait till now?
I said that?
Yeah, that was before I explained everything.
Ooh.
That was funny.
My bad, baby.
But nonetheless, so during December, she called and said that she was coming home for several weeks for Christmas break. And so I volunteered to come and get her. We booked flights to New York for myself so that I can drive her back. Got there.
He got to LaGuardia. I picked him up. Car was packed.
Ready to go.
And he got in the car and held my hand. And held my hand the entire ride to Chicago.
I was waiting to do it.
Whole 14, 16-hour drive. And it was so funny because we've never had a like, okay, we're officially a couple, like, yes, type conversation. It was like he got in the car, he held my hand, and that was it. It was us. And it was it was the most seamless transition ever. Like, him transitioning from work husband to being my man was just, it was so easy. Like, it didn't feel like any pressure at all. It didn't feel like things were awkward at any point. Like, it was just very comfortable and very secure and comforting. And yeah, that is the start of us.
Yeah. Then we got to Chicago and she dropped me off.
Oh yes, I dropped him off so we could both take a nap. And he was talking about something. I think that it was the Learn party. He was talking about the Christmas party, asking me if I wanted to go. And when I tell you, I heard no words. It was like Charlie Brown. And I was just interrupted. I was like, "Are you gonna kiss me now?" And he was like, "Yes, I am." And I was like, "Okay, great."
Signed, sealed, delivered.
Yes. And then he kissed me December 14th, 2017. And that is the first day of us. That's the day we became an official couple. And that's our anniversary, and that's how it all began.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
So that is the Timeica and Marcus story as we tell it. There are some people in the bridal party, I'm sure, who have additional things to add and their own little tidbits of things that they know that we might not have said here.
Right.
So feel free to put those things in the comments.
Like those people that hit me up in the inbox asking me over the years, when you and Timeica gonna get together? When you gonna make a move? When you
It was like one or two messages from my friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad we got to share our story with you.
Absolutely.
There are many more videos to come. And
so look out for them.
Yes, and we will see you all in June.
Deuces.